Part 2, Making the Case for the Distributed Developmental Community, DDC, or as we call it, Learning Forums. Hello manager, this is Victor Marromo, your strategic planning and performance management coach. We've reached part 2 of Thriving in the Middle. Why managers need to be coaching each other. Capitalizing on interdependency. The developmental community is an idea that has been around in various forms for many years. Historically, its near approximation may be the community of interests, or community of practice, or as we call them, peer learning forums. Through both types of interest group focus primarily on something they do in common, for which they have passion. In this case, the distribute aspect is one feature that makes it unique, since development in its various formats has historically been centralized. The idea of distributing developmental takes it out a framework where it can be considered extra to the work of the organization. I contend that development of employees, in this case mid-level managers, in the environment where the work of the organization takes place, is essential, strategic, and non-optional in this modern business world in order to thrive. The labor market is awash with open positions. Talented people have never been more mobile. If a business is going to be able to both recruit and retain the talent it needs, there must be a robust and vibrant developmental stance within an enterprise that is palpable and observable on a daily basis. Work practices must include developmental activities as regular routine. Distributed development then becomes a term of art, used when referring to the practices of carrying on development as a work of the enterprise, not extra to it, and therefore optional. Distributed development is also then used in a context where the responsibility and opportunity for development are synonymous and take place within the fabric of the work being performed. The truly unique feature of the distributed development community is its nature. Each community, and there can be as many as serves the organization, is an ongoing occasion to participate in a developmental activity in full partnership with others who are truly committed to your success as an investment in their own success. This means that the ideal distributed development community is populated with members who are obviously and measurably interdependent as a critical element of successfully fulfilling their accountability. And get in your top of mind accountability. What follows is a story. I've chosen the story format because it has proven over the past 10 years to be both popular and effective in allowing readers to engage a variety of concepts at an emotional level. It has been well established in many other publications, such as Switch, How to Change Things When Change is Hard, by Chip and Dan Heath. That an emotional connection is a prime mover of behavioral change. The story creates the emotional connections to allow for proposed changes to take root in the most rapid fashion possible. Make no mistake about it. while the notion of a distributed developmental community will make sense to many, if not all, managers, full participation comes about because of making an emotional connection to the practice. Each community, and there can be as many as serves the organization, is an ongoing occasion to participate in a developmental activity in full partnership with others who are truly committed to your success as an investment in their own success. Said this, let's continue. The story is called The Story of Money Pump. So, please try to pay attention, take some notes. I will be writing some summaries in the consulting format slides in order for you to have a more and more easy way of reading, listening, learning, and getting into practice. Said this, let's continue with the story. Said this, let's continue. Unit 6, The Story of Money Pump. My name is Ron Wallace. I am a department manager at Money Pump, a national provider of financial services. We are also an insurer, so we're the backer of many of the products we offer. It's a bit tricky, but we try not to compete with the companies whose products we broker. After 45 years in business, we still don't always get it right. I am sure you understand this. For the responsibilities I have as a manager, probably that one that gives me the most trouble is the budget process. Not the managing of it, the projections. I truly find it hard to know 90, 180, 365 days ahead what we'll need and what we'll spend. And honestly, I hate making the budget more important than what the moment seems to require. I have been at the process of developing the budget for the next year since 6:30 a.m. today, and I see no light at the end of the tunnel. As I start on the next section, I become aware that there is something standing in my doorway. Just what I need. An interruption. I knew I should have worked on this at home. Got a minute? These words from Caroline Duncan make this sound like a request, for her tone indicates something a bit stronger. I've known Caroline for several years. She leads a part of the business that my group really counts on. For the past year, we had our challenges getting what we need from her people. At the moment, I am hoping this is not going to be a request for me to get involved in some sort of political tug of war with managers from our respective groups. Yeah, sure. Caroline, come in and sit down. I am pretty sure my lack of enthusiasm is poorly disguised in my response. Caroline, you look like someone shot your dog. I hope whatever this is isn't that serious. Ron, I'm not a dog owner, so I don't know if this is that serious. She smiles briefly and continues. I'll let you tell me after we talk a while. With that, Caroline sits straight up in her seat and begins. I have had enough of something, and I want to ask for your help. Without further explanation, I have no way of knowing whether this mention of needing my help is good or bad, but we're into it now. I was the one who asked her in. What exactly is it that you've had enough of, Caroline? I hate to admit it, Ron, but I have had enough of my managers coming to me with excuses about how we miss our deliverables because some other group doesn't cooperate. Sometimes the complaints are about your people, and sometimes they are about Cheryl Hughes' group. But one thing is constant: it isn't them who are at fault. At first, I thought that they needed was for me to run interference for them, set up treaties of cooperation between groups like yours and ours on their behalf. You probably remember we did that a couple of times. Honestly, I know you've addressed the issue with your folks, and I believe you have been sincere in your dealings with me. Caroline continues. I took over this group 18 months ago, and the excuses started almost immediately. Our performance is not terrible, but it is certainly subject to criticism, and in my opinion, could be much better. From past experience, I know exactly what to do. Address the issue within my own group and train, move, or remove people if we couldn't get the performance we needed. I'm making a parenthesis in this. Here is a crucial example of performance management, in which a group, a team, a business unit needs to reach its KPIs, and sometimes it doesn't. So let's continue. This is the first time I have had an assignment where so many of our results were dependent on people outside my direct span of control. Quite frankly, I did not know what to expect, but I didn't realize that relying on other groups would be the equivalent of flying blind. I pipe in at that point. So, is the situation urgent in your mind? She doesn't hesitate. If by urgent you mean that we get some customers who are losing patience with us, then I say it is. So there it is. I can immediately see that I'm not going to finish my budget today. I have to be honest. When I am faced with an apparent choice of addressing customer needs or making my senior management happy, I can be counted on to opt for whatever I see is in the customer's interest. I've been told on several occasions that this particular quirk of mine is keeping me from serious consideration for higher level positions. Just between us, I tell you a secret. I know that, and it doesn't affect my choices. I know who I am. I know what I am good at. My group's results are always at or above expectation, and honestly, I am not looking to get promoted. I am best suited to be a mid-level manager, a damn valuable to this company right where I am. And this statement is very serious. A lot of people is okay and it's good with the work they do in middle and operational level management. If good resources are given to them, good training, good developmental communities are constituted, within them and their teams and departments, they will definitely thrive. Let's continue. I love operations management. I love managing in the middle of it all. It satisfies me financially, and as importantly, it gives me the opportunity to do what I love most: develop people to their full potential. And we do good work to boot. Right now, I manage managers who manage people who deliver service to our clients. And that is important because I've managed to learn and to teach them how they can create strategic factors on customers and clients, like an excellent customer service. That's really as far up the pyramid as I want to go. Another step up, and there would be too many layers between the customer and me. Worse, I'd be cut off even further from the day to day interactions I have with the folks who serve the customers directly. I am a manager who like to see and treat and to know about our key stakeholder, which are our customers. This story is about that idea, knowing yourself well enough to be confident of where you fit in with the organization you are currently employed by or will be employed. It is also about coming to grips with the mindset held by many senior as well as middle managers, that being in the middle as a manager is somehow an indication that you were not good enough to move up or that you lacked ambition to go further. Maybe, like me, you'll come to believe that managing in the middle is a legitimate career destination, a place where those who want to manage and have a distinct set of talents and values find themselves most at home. Their sweet spot is what it might be referred to, but it is also about how to leverage the opportunity of living in the middle of an organization and thriving. If that is where you are now, and like me, you know for whatever reason, or gut instinct, past experience, or personal goals, that it is the right place for you, then the story that follows holds something important. Each chapter will be a continuation of the adventure Caroline and I are about to begin. Along the way, we'll meet other managers, some like Caroline or me, passionate about both customer service and employee development. And these two traits are key to developing our key stakeholders like customers and employees, so we can be a good place to deliver our products and services and a good way to develop careers and employees. Some of the people we'll meet have a passion for one of the other, and we'll see how it affects the way they manage. One manager is particular, Beverly Martinez, or as we call it, Bev, will prove to be a big surprise as we'll find that she has already begun to address the issue Caroline and I are facing, and was just about to ask us to join her in a large experiment. We'll meet Bev in the next chapter. As this story unfolds, you'll be introduced to some new concepts. Actually, you may find that the concepts are not as new as the names we've given, and the way they have being organized. Some of what you read and hear will verify your instincts and provide a vocabulary that you can use to let other people know what you are doing and get them to join with you. There are two primary takeaways from the story, and there may be more, but that will be for you to determine for yourself, and these will be our tasks and assignments. The first is that as managers, whether in the middle or otherwise, we've reached a point in this global economy where we have no choice but to de-trivialize the notion that we must work smarter, not harder. I know this admonition has been a very popular theme in business books and in universities since the early 1960s. For me, it has often felt like an Aikido move used by senior managers to respond to the challenges that often arise following a force reduction, not accompanied by a work that needs to get done. Reduction as in, well, gang, I guess we are just going to have to work smarter, not harder. The traditional motto of the manager says. That has never felt good to me. I look into the origins of this familiar motto and find at best it is ascribed loosely to those of Scottish heritage, but more specifically to the famous Scrooge McDuck. He is of Scottish origin himself, of course. The famous and rich Scrooge McDuck and this motto first appeared in print in 1947. Scrooge, of course, never met a worker he didn't despise, so while it may not be meant to have manipulative undertones, the motto is at least somewhat suspect. Kidding aside for the moment, it was probably Alan Lacane's book, How to Get Control of Your Time and Your Life, published in the mid 70s, that began to make the notion popular, if not merely handy. However, in my mind, most discussions I have participated on this topic in my coaching practice and in university have been cosmetic, sincere, but cosmetic nonetheless is that they didn't lead to any breakthroughs, and that we went right back to working harder, very much harder. The second major takeaway is this. Carefully crafted collaboration paired with deliberate development is likely the answer to the work smarter question. This notion too can be trivialized. Of course, we need to collaborate with others in the workplace. However, the kind of collaboration that will result in the type of smarter work that will keep you coming back for more requires deep thinking and a kind of focus most of us are not well prepared for. For the most part, we treat our working relationships in a transactional manner and do not effectively distinguish between the friends we have in the workplace and the collaborators. Remember to review The Collaborative Mindset by Professor Minsberg and Professor Gosling. This will give you a very good insight on this mindset. We also, whether we realize it or not, operate from the belief that smart means intelligence coefficient smart or IQ. In our story, we are going to challenge that notion and ask you to consider adopting a definition of smart in an organizational setting that is a combination of IQ and psychological emotional maturity. And these two, my friends, are a combination of different managerial mindsets, like collaboration mindset, like the analytic mindset or the reflective mindset, and combine it with the action mindset. Unless we confront the hard work of learning how to establish the kinds of working relationships that will yield the collaboration we need, then the thought is just one more wishful slogan. There is a discipline to developing powerful collaborative relationships. You may have figured this out for yourself, but in our story, you'll be introduced to a vocabulary and a set of distinctions that will enhance your capability to collaborate, no matter what stage you are at. That's enough background for today. Caroline and I are already on our way down the hall to see if we can find Cheryl Hughes. So, manager, this is the end of Unit Chapter 6. We'll continue with Unit 7, in which we will start reviewing some key concepts regarding the collaborative mindset. Please try to review the collaborative mindset from previous newsletters. Said this is the end for today. Gracias. Thank you very much, and please have a very bright day. See you in the next unit. Goodbye. Unit 7. The story immediately takes a turn. As Caroline and I advance down the hallway, it occurs to me that I am not exactly clear on what we are so hotly pursuing. Yes, Caroline had used the magic words client and unhappy with me, which got me out of my chair. Remember, clients are one of the key stakeholders, which turn funds to the organization or business unit. I know Cheryl's group is intertwined with both Caroline's and mine in terms of delivering service. So it makes back sense that we are on our way to talk with her. What I am not clear on is what we are going to do once we find Cheryl. Launching into an Ain't It Awful tirade at 8:30 a.m. on a Tuesday unannounced does not seem like the most productive approach, no matter what we are aiming for. Hold a moment, Caroline. Can we just stop in the cafeteria for a few minutes and get clear about what we'll be asking Cheryl about, or telling her about, or whatever we are going to talk with her about? Caroline pulls up from her head down plunge mode and looks at me with a puzzled expression. Well, I thought I made that clear back in your office. No, Caroline, what you actually made clear was you were fed up with your people making excuses for not delivering. You didn't say it was my problem too. But somehow here I am on my way to see Shirley, and I am not yet clear about what you want from me. You may be clear, but I am not, and I need this conversation. So we head into the cafeteria, grab coffees, and find a table away from everyone else near. The windows overlooking the parking lot. Nice view. No wonder the tables were empty. So, what do you want from me, Carla? Okay, now that we are sitting here, I can actually see that I am not sure what I wanted when I show up at your office. I know for sure that I was very upset, but honestly, I don't even remember thinking, oh, I need to talk with Ron. He'll know what to do. I think it was just more that when I found this morning that another one of my expectations had not been met, I sort of knee jerked out of my chair, and the next thing I knew, I was in your doorway. Good. Then let's take the time, like I suggest, and get as clear as we can before we involve Cheryl. Caroline stares out the window for nearly a minute, then turns to look at me. I don't know. Hard as it is to own up to, I don't know what to do, and arriving at your office was an act of sheer frustration. I figured that has to be a tough admission for Caroline. She has a reputation for always getting the job done. This new assignment is definitely more complex than anything she has faced, and she did inherit a situation that had been allowed to get out of hand. Still, none of the senior management is interested in hearing excuses from her. If you don't know what to do and you wanted to see whether you burst into flames by admitting it, you came to the right guy. You might have worked with and around people who insist on the pretense of knowing, but with me, you have found an oasis. I eat uncertainty for breakfast, I say with a straight face, then burst into laughter. Come on, Caroline. I know you think some clients are at risk, and maybe they are, but we can probably fix that with a few phone calls to the right people. The bigger issue is, what can we do to address the tradition of excuse making that has infected your group? And by the way, we catch that bug from time to time in my group. Nasty business. And maybe this is a time to pause. Maybe we can check our strategic factors to clients and talk to some key clients and see where they are upset, where we are not meeting the strategic factors, or what else would they want for new, what offers or offering they have been to in the marketplace. Said this, let's continue. Caroline smikes just a crack. If there is one thing I am not comfortable with, it is feeling incompetent. Actually, the only thing that approach is bothering me more is whining. How am I doing? With this admission, she seems to lighten just a little bit. So, why were you on your way to see Cheryl then? I ask. Caroline pauses, and then, looking sheepish, she says, honestly, Ron, it was probably more knee-jerking on my part. I know how sensitive you are to client issues, so I see now that I used that to suck you in. I apologize. I open my arms wide and back. No need to apologize to me. I am as human as the next person. Sometimes the unworkability around me just takes over and my head feels like it must be the inside of a beehive, just buzzing. When I get away, I often find myself searching out Bev Martinez over in customer experience. She has always been a good sounding board for me. She is the champion of our strategic factor in customer experience, and she seems to see right through me if I try to play victim with her. I think in this case, she might be good counsel for you, since her group is not intertwined with yours for anything. Have you met her? Karen looks at me with what I think is skepticism. I have heard her name, always mentioned in a positive way, but we've never met. What makes you think she can help since she is not involved? Bev is a terrific manager. She is a champion in customer service. She knows exactly every KPI we have to meet in customer service. In fact, I say she is a manager's manager. There are a lot of people who where they are not to having spent some time working under her guidance. If she is such a terrific manager, why hasn't she been promoted? From what I hear, she has been in her current position for about 7 years. And that sounds like she has hit a dead end. This remark comes out of Caroline's mouth, as much of a knee-jerk response as showing up in my office. I stand to leave. Okay, I say. Based on that comment, I am now very sure that Bev is someone you'll benefit from knowing. She has not been passed over for promotion. She has made it clear that she current role is she like to continue to play for a number of years. She thrives on developing managers. And with a growth in her area, she has frequent opportunities to work with new people. Take a look at promotions or transfers out of her group last year. You'll see that she regularly turns over 30 to 40% of her group. Managers in her group are in high demand, and if you look at job postings, you always see vacancies in her shop. Normally, senior management would be asking what's the problem, why the turnover. In Bev's case, several of the senior managers work under Bev's oversight for a while, and they know exactly what that turnover means, which is success. It has been probably 10 months since I've seen her in person. We talk frequently, but you know how it is. It's a big campus. She normally doesn't schedule meetings until around 10 a.m. So let's stretch our legs and see if she can make some time for us. It is about a 15-minute walk to the building where Bev's office is located. So we better get going. If she is such a terrific manager, why hasn't she been promoted? Classic. Caroline's almost automatic assessment of Bev is an example of a couple of things. Firstly, many managers, both in the middle and senior levels, see the workplace as an arena where they are competing with other managers for the next level on the career ladder. For them, this is no doubt true, but they may be so focused on the competition that they don't recognize that not everyone is in the same game. Caroline has been playing the competitive game since she joined the company and seems to naturally evaluate other managers on that basis, even those she hasn't met. I guess it's a good thing she doesn't know. I've been in my position for 6 years and have no interest in moving up. She may not have been seeking out my counsel. Secondly, given the competitive perspective of many managers, they always look for an edge when interacting with peers. They see the world through a set of lenses that may be referred to as win-lose, and they keep score. Not in a ledger, but certainly in their heads. Caroline hasn't even met Bev, but by suggesting she's someone who hasn't something to offer us, I have opened the competitive gates in her mind. As a true competitor, Caroline instinctively begins the competition even before she has met Beb. The us versus them illusion permeates the modern workplace as such, simply because it is inherently human to see others as not you, and as any particular aspect of organizational design. Although, let's be honest, the functional divides that characterize traditional organizational design do more to exacerbate this human habitual inclination than is ultimately helpful. Unless, of course, you intentionally want to create an imaginary silos that so often pepper any conversation about why things aren't working in any workplace. And making a small parenthesis, you can ask me about the silos and slabs model that we offer in coaching ourselves, which is very helpful in these kind of issues. Inventing and installing structures to intervene in this natural tendency is inspired by the recognition that the organizational structures developed to promote command and compliance have limited value in many modern workplaces and maybe never really had much to do with getting the work done. When we met Beverly, we'll find a manager who has seen past the illusion and initiated a process that just makes sense to her. We'll also meet someone who sees that outcomes are produced organizationally, as much through relationship as they are through knowledge. Caroline's introduction to Beb will prove a turning point in her working career, as well as her perspective as a manager of managers. We've reached Unit 8, Middle Management as a Career Destination. Let's continue with our story. The story about some managers with some issues about learning, development, and performance. The story of Money Pump. So, Ron, what else can you tell me about Beverly? Caroline asks as we speed walk our way across the campus. Bev, I say. Everyone calls her Bev. I think you'll like her immediately, but she can be a bit disarming. I think a lot of people have underestimated her over the years, and then being surprised by her. Bev either has no ego, or she is just so at peace with herself that she has no need to compete with anybody. She certainly doesn't need to have the last word on any subject, but she is really helpful and knows hell of a lot about performance management. I offered this last evaluation of Web for Caroline's sake. If she goes in with her competitive shields up, it will hinder whatever learning might be gained. I've had enough exchanges with Caroline to know that she wakes up in the morning feisty and needs to calm down just to come into work. So, what's her deal then? If she isn't ambitious, how did she get this far? I mean, she is a director. She must have something on the ball. From the comment, I can see that I had not completely suited Catherine's competitive instincts. Oh, she has a lot on the ball, alright. She may be the smartest manager I have ever met. And she lets my comments sink in. I sense that I'm stoking Caroline's competitive fire rather than quenching it. Let me explain what I mean by smart. I think there is just plain smart, and then there is manager smart. Bev is manager smart. She may be just plain smart too, but it is not what sets her apart from other managers I have known. This statement seems to stop Caroline in her tracks. She actually stops walking, and it takes me a couple of tries to realize it. Just plain smart? Manager smart? What the heck are you talking about? She has her hands on her hips now, a sure sign that she is going back towards frustration. She trots quickly to catch up, and we continue in our way. Just plain smart, like IQ smart, that's what I mean by just plain smart. Let's make a pause in our way to see Beb. Remember our 5 managerial mindsets. Uniting that 5 managerial or upskilling that 5 managerial mindsets makes us manager smart and therefore organization smart or business unit smart. So we can use our managerial mindsets in order to match them with the strategic planning for our business unit or organization in order to increase our strategic factors and therefore our performance of our KPIs. Said this, let's continue our way. I find it unfortunate that many managers actually compete intellectually with their reports. Maybe they just feel the need to remind themselves that they are just plain smart. They develop various ways of showing folks that they deserve to be the manager by virtue of being the sharpest kid in class. Bev doesn't do that. I think she's probably plenty just plain smart. In fact, I think she is so much just plain smart that she knows she can handle any issue that comes her way. But she doesn't encourage her folks to bring her issues by showing them how just plain smart she is. In fact, she encourages them to develop their own solutions, try them out, and share their findings. Now, rather than have you ask me next what I mean by manager smart, let me just go right ahead and give you my definition. Manager smart is a kind of smart that knows that a manager's job is not to be the person who works the longest hours. I see a lot of managers in their offices well past the agreed upon end of the workday, not looking too happy about being there. Caroline chirps quickly, but if you see them, you're there too. Yes, on occasion I do work in the evening hours, but when I do, I always see the same people in the office, so I know that for them it is habitual. It is the way they work harder, not smarter. Ouch, says Caroline. Have you noticed I am one of those staying habitually late? For sure, I've noticed. That's one more reason I think it will be useful for you to talk to Beba. She's one of the hardest working people I have ever known, but she relies more on being smarter manager than just plain smart. You rarely see her here in the evenings. Caroline says nothing for the next few moments. We arrive at our destination, and before we even reach the escalator to the second level, I hear someone shout my name. Ron! I turn in the direction of the shout, and standing there, with arms wide open, is Bev Martinez. She continues in a loud voice. What brings you over to this side of the campus? I didn't think you could get out of your office for coffee, much less a visit to the other side of the money pump world. As I advance towards Bev, I realize that Caroline is no longer beside me. I look back over my shoulder and she is standing at the foot of the escalator. No doubt she is shocked that someone has shouted in the lobby of the money pump headquarters building, and is probably trying to make up her mind about letting it be known that she might be associated with this noisy person. You've been giving yourself a hard time again, Ron, Bev asked with a smile. She knows me well, and many of our past conversations have revolved around me getting in my own, and her helping me see my way out. Not too much recently, Sister Beverly, but I have found someone who has a lot in common with me, and thought she might benefit from spending some time with you. Bev has always made it clear to me that anyone at Money Pump who needs her help is very welcome to ask, no matter where they work in the company. Bev steps toward Caroline, he is now looking somewhat sheepish following my less than encouraging introduction. Alright, you can stop with Sister Beverly stuff. Bev is looking right at Caroline as she continues to speak with her hand extended. I have worked hard to help this guy with his manners, but I can see he has been backsliding. Hi, I'm Bev Martinez. I don't believe we've met. As Caroline will soon find out, being noisy is the least surprising thing about Bev Martinez. Caroline Duncan is in for a truly eye-opening experience. She is about to have an audience with the manager's manager, and she really isn't ready for what she will learn.